Away, my friend.
So, true story, that is actually my walk-up song. This is not a joke. So clearly somebody from the office told John about that. Thank you very much, Jody Biagini over here. It's really great to be here. How sad would it be if I told you not only am I turning 50, but you guys are my only friends? I'm kidding. No, my family came in yesterday. This is really amazing. It's funny when I saw the calendar and I thought, oh, it's going to be August 23rd. That's my birthday, and it's kind of a big one. I'm like, well, we're going to fly everybody out, and I just love this place so much. Love Tahoe, and this week has been a lot of fun just because the first half of the week was with brand marketers, right? So those are what we also call in the business clients, okay? And then today and tomorrow and Saturday is really all the people who largely, I think you're sort of a third, right? Brands, technology providers, and agencies. And I thought to myself, well, maybe I should redo the whole presentation. And what happened was I gave this presentation on Monday to a lot of brand marketers, and literally people were coming up to me afterwards like, I took pictures of every one of your slides. You just nailed exactly what we're going through right now. And I thought, I'm going to share all that with you, okay? And the reason is that you guys are like the alphas of what's happening in digital. This room right here. You are not normal, okay? You are of a very different class of people who are on the very forefront of everything that's going on. Most brands are really struggling with it, and let's be honest, most agencies are really struggling with all of this. And so I'm going to introduce to you some concepts today and really just sort of level set what we're competing in and why we are where we are. And for many of you, does not apply. For a lot of you, it might be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Or it might get us in the heads of the brands that we work with, who, by the way, have a really fucking hard job, all right, to run brands. And imagine all the change that's been happening in our world to try and keep on top of that. I can't even imagine. So let's just go through a little bit here. First of all, why me? Why am I here? So I run what is, I think, commonly known as one of the last original digital agencies left standing. Started the agency in 1995 as a digital agency. Couldn't convince anybody that the internet was going to take off. So I had to start my own brands. This is a picture about a year after that. By the way, that's a Mach T turtleneck, wide cords, maybe some Doc Martens, a lot of hair, 50 pounds less. And I just decided to start this company to do e-commerce. It was a music play. It was awesome. We ran it for like 10 years. And we just tried all of the stuff on us and then rolled it out to clients. Said, hey, this stuff works. See, we did it to ourselves. And so to a certain extent, we're still doing that all today. And turning 50, I was 26 years old in that picture, so literally like half my life. This is the only thing I know how to do. Okay, literally, this is all I know how to do is run a digital agency. So I just hope to share a few things about that. First, a little bit about Ciceron, just that the name Ciceron means a trusted and masterful guide. We take that very seriously. We believe that we train our clients every single day how all of this works. What sort of our uncommon tagline is, we show the spreadsheets. I show them what goes into a CPM. I show them how we trade. We do not take a commission on any media because I don't want any incentive to be in one channel over another. We just do a lot of stuff just totally weird. And then the other thing is that we believe the consumer is always right, meaning that we might think something is really cool, but if the consumer's not there and ready to receive it, it doesn't matter. So when we say the consumer, we mean our clients' consumers. They are the ones who are driving all the change, not you technology providers, not us agencies, and not you brands. And we're all trying to keep up with the changing consumer. That's all we're doing. They're the ones who are making all of this happen. So we came up with a term that sort of really felt strongly about. It's this idea that what we really work in is this idea of Zen anarchy. And what it does is it acknowledges the lawlessness and the chaos of the world around us, and we don't deny it. And inside of that lawlessness and chaos, because if we're looking for all the rules, you're just going to be waiting forever, right? You got to go break the rules because there are no rules, and you've got to completely always change everything that you do. And in that, you harness a tremendous amount of power. And when you can contextualize that power, it finally brings you a sense of calm and determination to do the right thing for end consumers. If you are completely paralyzed by the anarchy and the chaos around it, then you don't have calm, okay? And we'll get into that a little bit, too. So there's really 4 components of Zen anarchy. Media, technology, creative, and people. And so at our agency, we've merged all of these people into one group of people that all sit together and do crazy shit together, okay? There's another word that somebody said, that's pretty cool, you should TM that, so I did that. And that's called Zenial, okay? Zenial is that calm feeling you get when you're in total denial. And I think this is when the camera started coming up and like people started taking pictures of it because they're like, we are totally in Zenial. Like, everything's cool because we're denying that anything is happening to us. And I'm like, all right, well, let's figure that out. So we're going to go through just some of these pieces and how this all fits into the world. In the world of media, denial is that our customers are different. They're old school. B2B customers are great about this. They go to our trade shows, we send them our sales materials, we give them a call, everything's cool, right? They don't go on Facebook. And I'm like, you know, they're B2B buyers during the day, but at night they're checking up on the kids or doing whatever they're doing, right? They're just consumers. So there's this idea of like, we don't have to do all this stuff because our customers are different. They're not like everybody else. Anarchy is believing that every new channel is important. Oh my God, what's our Snapchat strategy? Right? How many times? It always starts, by the way, with oh my God. Oh my God, what are we doing on Facebook? Oh my God, you know, what are we doing with Instagram? All this stuff is cool, it's fine, but not everything has to have a strategy and not everything is important. So Zen anarchy is this idea that we really understand our audiences. We are rooted in just great data, empirical data, not anecdotal data, right? Great data, we know exactly what mix of media we need to have to the right people at the right time, and we can move money around quickly in order to stay on top of them and measure against actual outcomes, okay? This moving money around quickly becomes a really impossible thing to do for so many different brands. I heard this a little bit earlier today. If you ask different people in a different organization, who is our best customer? They will have, it depends upon who you ask, they have a completely different understanding of the customer. So one thing that we had to do, this is the only thing, by the way, right now I'm kind of pitching you. And I'm kind of pitching you because it's like barely in beta. But at any rate, if you're interested, we decided to consolidate all these things into a tool that we just called Ciceron CX because we haven't really come up with a brand for it yet. It's that beta. Where we consolidate all persona information, including current research, campaign successes, what campaigns, what language ran against that persona, all the places, and just centralize it into one place so everybody from the SVP to the CEO to the CMO down to the people who are managing campaigns have one common view of the customer and how they're responding, and including third-party research, first-party data, campaign results, all in one place. And so we don't have this crazy game of who is our customer. So just so you know, we had to do that because I couldn't find anything that existed. So typical digital agency, you go build it yourself. The other thing that we did is we just sort of make this assumption that every media channel is going to move into being biddable. Okay, I mean, we've been doing paid search since before there was Google, right? Paid Facebook since as soon as organic Facebook just sort of wasn't a thing anymore all of a sudden. Very, very quickly after they went public. Interesting, isn't it? Right? And so we just assume everything's going that way. 64% of households are on a connected addressable TV, 8% of budget's there. I like gaps like that. That's called growth, right? It's amazing. So the thing that we've decided to do, and many of you have probably done this as well, is that we've just centralized everything into one group of people. So search, programmatic, social. Programmatic, as we know, problematic word. Thank you for using that earlier. I love that problematic thing. But anything that's biddable that's not social and search. But the budgets are decentralized. And the reason we did this is that I cannot imagine if I were a brand to have 3 or 4 different agencies managing this. Because who's going to move the money around? I don't know about you guys, but like I'm not wiring money out of my budget over to another agency all that often. Right? And if I'm a brand manager, am I calling up the agency, can you wire over $100 grand out of the search budget and put it over into Facebook because Or, oh, by the way, since we're measuring to a CPL or a CPA or something like that, we're just going to turn off programmatic altogether because it's not a direct response channel. And now I have no brand assets in play. It's a nightmare. And so I decided to consolidate all of it, and I know many of you are as well, and decentralizing budgets. And it just allows you to move money around across these channels, following those journeys all the time. And it just depoliticizes and really defragments the whole process. And so it's been awesome. And I know it sounds like I'm trying to do a land grab. I really am not. I'm just trying to figure out how I can be as fast as I possibly can. Just to give you real quick, something about the platform. I love this conversation that was earlier about, do we have one platform? And I would love it too. I mean, we're a trade desk company. We're obviously the duopoly company. We're all these sorts of things. But we ran a campaign recently for Warner Brothers Records, and we do a lot of work with them. And we just came up with an idea. We're like, we want to buy everything programmatically. We want to buy out-of-home digital billboard space. Where they're going to geofence all of those. We're going to collect device IDs for everybody who was in front of that billboard for the 8 seconds that it appeared, and then we're going to remarket it into Spotify so that we can add a Dua Lipa track to the playlist. Easy, right? We worked with 4 different vendors to make this happen. They had never worked with each other. They didn't know each other or anything else, and we just said, we want to do this. And so if I had waited for a platform, we never would have done this campaign. This campaign was like an award-winning campaign and delivered amazingly and gave us a benchmark for how we can do anything about geolocating and geofencing that drives actual KPIs from a huge brand if we want to work with touring musicians, right? The only reason this happens is that we got all 4 people on a phone, 4 different technology partners, and said, let's do this. We did it with TouchTunes about a year and a half ago, and we said, we want to buy your stuff programmatically. The billboards, digital jukeboxes in bars. And we're like, we want to buy that programmatically. Well, we've never done that before. Let's go do it, right? To me, that's what it is about being an agency and a brand together. We're just like, let's go figure it out. And if I waited for a platform, it would never happen. That's just a quick example of it. I think you just sort of have to hack the system to try and figure out how to stay in front of a customer. The next one is really in technology. Denial is, we've got a platform. It's not here yet, but it will be. How many people hear that? We're transitioning to Salesforce, right? Right now, we're transitioning to Adobe. And you're like, and that'll be 2 years. It's amazing. So that's denial. It's like sort of being dependent upon the IT group saying, we'll be ready to market in a couple of years. Anarchy is also, we don't have everything. We don't have anything, but we have everything all at once. We have tools all over the place. Our sales organization is Salesforce. We are Adobe over here, and we've got people doing Pardot and we've got stuff all over the place, and there's no way to share data. There's no place to do everything. And so for us, the anarchy side is how do we test and onboard tools continuously as needed, but anchored in first-party data, right? That is a religion for us, is how do we, everything that we do, we should gain more and more first-party data so that we can control it, interpret it, and use it to our benefit to drive sort of maximum ROI and intelligence out of anything that we're doing. I don't care if it's an onboarding email nurture campaign, right? The most boring thing that we do, that is the most amazing thing ever, right? So at any rate, we're always looking for anything that we can do to gather first-party data so that we're not becoming dependent upon having a platform or anything else, and just being as nimble as possible. In the interest of time, this says exactly what I just said, right? It's this idea, get as much first-party data that you can, so that when you have to go out to market to buy third-party data, you're doing it in a very surgical fashion, and you're only buying the market share that really is appropriate for your product. We're not talking about big CPGs. Most of us are not Coca-Cola. Most of us are not, Nike. Most of us really need to scale to the size of our market. I think scale is a really dangerous term, because scale is really only as big as you need it to be. Not everybody is going to use your product, and most people don't have market budgets to do that. The other thing that we really focus on right now for us is I believe that marketing has the best business intelligence in the entire organization, all the way from customer service all the way through to operations. And so I think if we have the best data, we have to figure out how to share it with the rest of the organization. So we recently went through a pretty exhaustive exercise and decided to land on Domo. Anybody else a Domo customer right now? I would love to talk with you because it's really fascinating. It's almost too much, right? We want to master marketing, but then realize that the intelligence that we can gather through Domo can be shared across the organization, and that's hugely important to us. The other thing that Domo does really well, it elevates into a mobile environment performance, business performance to executives, right? Just to be able to look at it and say, how are we doing today? And I want that coming out of marketing, because that's the intelligence that we have about how a brand is competing in the marketplace and touching the customer. I think something like Domo, where we can pull in data feeds from across the organization, as well as from the right side of here, working with the different DMPs. We are standing up DMPs like crazy because I'm sick of having my own clients' data, right? If I'm running a DMP through the trade desk for my client, I own their data. I own it. I don't want my client's data. I don't want the responsibility for it. I don't want the leverage for it. And that's not what I want them beholden to us. So standing up a DMP is huge, and I love to hear that many of you are doing that right now as well. And I don't have a dog in this hunt. There are some really good ones. There's a brand new one called Cortex that seems to be bringing in social data better than anybody else. Brand new, that's all I know about it, right? But there's just a lot of great technology there. Okay, creative. Denial is our designers know our brand, right? But they know nothing about creating experiences for emerging channels. This goes for agency side as well as for client side. And so what I've decided to do, at least for us, and this includes our clients' designers, by the way, is that we all have to sit together. So at our agency, analytics, media, and creative all sit together in the same group, okay? Because creatives have to understand the specific nuances that the new emerging technology has. And if they don't understand how to design for that particular medium, we're going to be repurposing 30-second TV spots into pre-roll, and that's all we'll ever do, right? Because there are some people who want to just keep shooting more TV spots. And what we're saying is, no, this is interactive medium. And we have to understand, and the technology people have to understand how to work with creative. The repurposing creative from a campaign that happened a month ago and like, let's just jam it into digital, will never give you the metrics that you want, ever, ever, ever. And so for us, we've determined, and this, by the way, does include clients. So we will bring in brand client people and train them how these emerging channels are really impacting overall conversion rates, brand metrics, and everything else so that we're all on the same level. Good, 5? I'm okay this time? Literally, like an anvil dropped on me like Looney Tunes last time, so.
It's your birthday, man. Come on.
This is the best birthday present ever, John. Just real quick, so this is a campaign that we've been working through with Be The Match, which is a really interesting one where it's the idea of literally pulling a stage behind us and going to college campuses and other places and having a concert where we bring in all these young people. It could end here. This could be the campaign, right? You would just pull it behind the truck, go to the next one, have it. What we're recognizing is, of course, is that these are people who have, the audience has tremendous amount of power in their hands through advocacy, right? AKA iPhones and other sorts of great devices. And so you have to acknowledge that that's who the audience is. And so when you really think about architecting a campaign and even going through a briefing process, it's like, what are all the other touch points, brand building touch points that we could have that we can convert literally no party data into some first party data. And really, at the end of the day, we're pushing out to something that could be third-party data, AKA like a Spotify playlist, right? So if we're going to have all their favorite battle of the bands over here, let's have a Spotify playlist of all the bands who are there. And if you're at a college campus, it's your buddy's band. So you're going to go share that out like crazy. But we're going to own the user experience and a branded user experience. This is just the sort of the three-dimensionality or the architecture for us to have to think all this through. And how does geofencing work? And how does working within Zip, Zip targeting within Spotify and buying that programmatically and only buying in markets that is particularly there. The briefs are really complex, right? It's not like objective, what we're going to do, measure impressions, right? It gets to be fairly complex because everybody has to understand how it fits together. By the way, it's a hell of a lot more fun, too. right? I mean, we can agree these complex campaigns are fun because you're thinking through, like, what is the person actually going to do, and how can I anticipate that? And how can we really deliver them an amazing experience where it doesn't feel like we were intrusive into their lives? It just felt like we were walking hand in hand throughout the whole thing. And it's just absolutely beautiful when it happens, and the metrics always come out. In the case of Be the Match, it's did we get people to register for the bone marrow registry, right? That's what we're measuring at the end of the day. It's not like, oh, we had so many impressions in Instagram. It was like, how many people registered for the Be the Match registry? That's what I want to be held accountable to. All right, finally, people, the most important ones, right? The people, the denial is believing that your past skills will get you there. If you've been in the insertion order business your entire life, and now I'm sitting you in front of the trade desk dashboard trading system, it's nothing the same. Or if you've only designed for print, and now you're designing for interactive experiences, it's going to be enormously confusing. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn. I'm just saying that just thinking that they transfer over these skills is not going to happen. Anarchy is oftentimes on the inside, in particular in some agencies, like we just don't know what skills we need. So it really becomes difficult to staff. Zen anarchy, really in this case, is having a team that can adapt and learn without fear of reprisal. This is a leadership issue. The idea of people always say, fail often, fail all the time, do experiments and so forth. It's like, and then you're fired, right? So you have to have this culture, right? You have to have this culture that, yes, we're going to scale slowly. I heard it this morning from one of you, I believe it was where you test on one of your smaller brands before you roll out to the large brand. I love that. I mean, that's the best way to do it. And the thing that I really want to be really, really clear is that you are hunting unicorns to find people to staff this, whether it's at your own agency or on brand. These are not the J schools, the B schools, the design schools. They do not have curriculum to teach this. You are going to have to teach people to do what you want them to do. You cannot find them. And so I just want you to know that what I've assembled at Ciceron, my big pitch here, by the way, is a herd of unicorns. And it's really effing hard to find them. And when you do, you hire them, and then you find them a job. Okay? And so that's one of the reasons on the make or buy, I think, for a lot of brands. It's like, I would love to bring this in-house because I could get margin. I wouldn't have markups anymore on media. I wouldn't do this. But oh shit, I have to now staff it with people who are completely crazy, goofball, nerd, creatives that don't exist. And then when I get them here, I have to train them. So I just want you to be really, really aware of what you're saying you're going to do if you're going to bring it in-house, or even if you're going to transform your agency. I hope you all do it. Just be prepared for what you're looking for. I think my final slide is your warning signs when you do this is be very careful. Do not hire people who self-describe themselves as ninjas, gurus, or even experts. Okay? People who have media experience but have never been in a trading platform. Analysts who screen grab. Log into Google Analytics, Control-Alt-4, whatever it is, screen grab, throw it into a PowerPoint. That's not an analyst. That's somebody who knows how to do screen grabbing. And then finally, when you're looking at creative portfolios, if all they have is banner only, we've moved beyond that. And you really have to look at that other creative. And the great creative will experiment in their free time all night, set up their own blog, stand up their own server, do all this kind of stuff, and you'll have great creative. So in closing, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a great week. Thanks for celebrating my birthday with me. That's pretty awesome. Thank you. And John, thanks for letting me go over by only 67 seconds.
Not a problem for you, my friend. Does anyone have any questions here for Andrew while we have him? I know you have a colleague, Jody?
Yes, Jody.
Jody's here?
Jody is our director of media planning. Been with us for 10 years. She taught herself everything she knows.
Okay, that's amazing, and we would love to have some of these folks meet you as well. So if you have questions, anyone have anything right now? We have a minute or so. Anyone? No gurus, no ninjas in the room? Okay.
Oh, we got one. Good.
All right, let's do this. From one presenter to the other.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, Joe from Beeswax. I entertained you during breakfast this morning. So I'm just curious from your perspective and running an agency that seems to be getting ahead of the curve in a lot of ways, what do you think are the most kind of important technology investments that agencies can make to maintain their positioning, continue to grow market share, and continue to serve their clients most effectively?
So we are all in on helping our clients get their heads around their own data. So whether it's a Salesforce/Crux, whether it's Adobe, whatever else, I want to stand up a DMP, and it's worth the investment. The second area is, and this really goes for my most senior level management folks on client side. I know it's premature. Maybe John will ask me to come back a year from now and present to you the Domo experience. But I'm really all in on that. And we've been pretty good at guessing good horses over the years. And the reason I love something like Domo is that it finally centralizes all the market data that we have and the intelligence about the business, even at the operations level, like, is the product working? Is it doing what it said it would do? Because you're bringing in these, is our fulfillment experience, like when the package shows up, do people like this? I mean, there's so much business intelligence that if marketing can be the hub for business intelligence and begin to show value across the organization from operations and product development and finance all the way up through marketing and brand development, it would finally transform marketing into the level of importance that I think it actually is and always has been, but we've had a hard time storytelling it and having a place where all the data can go. So I do not want to say that technology is going to fix all of our problems, because it never does. But I am a believer in a Domo or something like it that can feed all of this data into one place and then elevate it purely on I would say on a visual design, ease of UX, so that higher ups around the organization can say, how are we doing right now, and see it and get it in a visual way that makes a lot of sense. And if marketing can own that, I think that's a really beautiful thing. So I know that sounds like a huge commercial for Domo, and I have no experience to even do that. But there's other things like it. But I think that's huge. If you can make sense of data, you're way ahead of any curve. If you're an agency and you can help them do that, I think it also transformed the relationship that you have as an agency, to be honest with you. I think we've been traditionally known as being the crazy creatives who drink too much, right? And so, that's not what we do anymore. A good modern agency isn't all about that. Did it help? Did I answer? And then beeswax. No, I don't know.
All right, very good. Well, with that, we're going to let him off the hook. Andrew, thank you very much. Big round of applause for Andrew Eklund.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. This just in here.
Ciceron founder Andrew Eklund has been a bad, bad boy. And we're revealing 50 crimes he's committed against human decency. Warning, you may not believe your eyes.
Happy birthday, dude.
Thanks.
What an agency. What an agency. All right. Hi back at the office. I don't know. They did that, not me.
Yeah.
Okay, so quickly, we got a lot to do today. Thank you again, sir. Again, just reiterating some of the things. Everything's leaving at 2 o'clock. If you have questions about anything about the activities, come see me right now. Otherwise,